Welcome to Chats with Dr. Tan. This is the lovely Blossom Leilani Crawford. Am I pronouncing that correctly, my friend? Did I get it?
Yes.
Well, we can hear you too. That's
Yes.
amazing. Good morning to you in New York.
Good morning. It's right.
We have been trying, how long have we been trying to get this chat in? A little while now.
A year?
Maybe. That's okay. We get there in the end. It's
Maybe.
pretty relaxed. All right. So usually in my chats with Dr. Tan, we're learning a little bit about your physical activity experience over your life. So not very long,
Mm.
not very old. So we'll get a bit of that in and track how you got to where you are now in the hope that we inspire people to try different things. And I have three words usually that I start my podcast with. When I think of the person I'm talking to, what are the first three words to describe them that come to mind? So are you ready? First one,
Yes.
engaging. What does that word mean to you?
Oh, that's good.
What does that word mean?
It me For me, it's about meeting, getting someone kind of excited, and also meeting them where they are. And I'm thinking specifically clients. Like if I'm trying to engage with a client, I'm gonna meet them where they are, whether they're high or low energy. Are they here for rehab? Are they in pain, or are they trying to just work out?
Hmm.
Or do they need a challenge? So that's what engaging means to me.
How do you think you gauge that level of engagement?
Yeah, that is sort of the stuff you can't teach, isn't it?
I don't know
Like,
if you know, Blossom, my PhD area was engagement. So I've wanted to talk to you. I only speak to people on these podcasts that have inspired my physical activity changes journey. I don't like the word journey, but have helped my learning and how I teach and how I operate being physically active to be better or different. So I will come at
mm,
it from a little bit of a self-serving. I want to understand your brain around how you engage people and
yeah.
it will help people if they listen. So,
I mean, I think it even starts when you're emailing with the person, like what's going on, and it's really watching, not giving a lot of direction sometimes, and just sort of going, I'd like you to do this. And I sometimes say, lift your hips up. They're lying on their back, knees are bent, lift your hips up. And that's kind of plenty because you can sort of see the wheels turning. And some people just, you watch, do they lift without thinking? Are they lifting and working too hard? Are they, you sort of see, you just watch. And so I guess a lot of it is observation. I'm just really watching people to sort of see what they do and I go, oh, okay, this is, and I think like, so recently I've had a lot of people who just work really hard.
yeah.
I'm just like, Jesus, can you, oh, great. Now I'm cursing. Like, can you do that with less energy?
Yeah.
Right, right. Like that. So that's what's been interesting watching sort of also, right. Like, so it's really, I think, observing and watching and trying to find that window in of what I think they might need because uh, I think how the person moves is also directly related to why they've come in to see me. Like,
Yeah.
does that
Yeah.
make sense?
So let's backtrack a
Yeah.
second. Blossom, I met in around 2013, 14. I did a
Oh my
workshop in
God.
Sydney at a Pilates conference. Blossom is an amazing Pilates, very intuitive Pilates teacher, educator, presenter, but has a really interesting introduction into Pilates. So I want you to speak to that
Yeah.
in a moment. But then very shortly after that in 2014, I sought out your studio to have we called it a workshop back then, but I don't know, were you even doing workshops back then? It might have been at an inception kind of stage.
I was just starting. I think I was just starting out. Yeah.
So we had the luxury of a very small three people, I think it was. And so, yeah, we were
It was
very, very lucky.
great.
Yeah, but can you explain a little about how you have got into what you're doing now? Because you have a very, within the Pilates world, you're very well known. But for people that do movement,
Hey,
tell me a little bit about how you got into where you are like right now with what you're doing with work.
sure. I started as a young dancer in Hawaii. I, not knowing a lot, and moved to New York as soon as I possibly could, and went to NYU, New York University, for the dance department. And I that's where I met sort of the one of the Pilates greats, Kathy Grant. And I was
Mm.
somewhat injured. I couldn't really do a cumbre back. I couldn't do any sort of back bend. I'd hurt my back, and actually, I was talking about this just yesterday. Um, Kathy would interview you the first session was really like an hour long interview where she would get your whole history. And she'd say, and I remember she said to me, well, do you have a strong back or a flexible back? Because I was telling about this
Very
big
different.
back bend that I was doing in a piece. And I was just like, what? Like I didn't even understand what that question was. Like, it's just like, like
Just
that's
yeah, just okay.
I was just like, I was like, there's two different things. So that was my amazing introduction. I loved Kathy Grant from the start for many, many reasons. She was direct. She was a hard ass. I knew she was, but her love was sort of hard earned, and also she met you more than halfway, and she actually got so she helped me get stronger, and so I was dancing, and then I decided to eventually become a Pilates teacher. That's a whole other long conversation,
Can't
but
be
that
classy.
was and now. Right, yeah, part 7, part 28.
So like this,
So
I'll
I
have to
became a
come over.
Pilates,
Come
right,
back to New York.
right, right. I think round 2.
Yeah.
Uh, so I became a Pilates teacher, and yeah, so young, very able dancer. I could do anything. I used to even add like the weighted shoes to my workouts when I was sometimes doing that work, because why not? Because I was young and had lots of
Extra.
energy to throw around, and um, eh, right, yeah, and then and here we are many years later. I'm going to be 50 next year. So started as a 17-year-old, so almost 33 years later. Yeah, my workouts look very different. Definitely still Pilates is like my baseline, but I love adding other things in. In fact, I just did a little, like, I sometimes do a little hit. I've been starting to lift weights because I'm a woman of a certain age now.
Bones. Get the
It's
bones.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, because that shit, I'm sorry, you're cursing again. That stuff is real. Like, that is real. And like, bone health and like actually like lifting things that are heavier than you're used to, that is real, and it does help me. So yeah, I do everything, and but Pilates has always been my baseline. But it has been interesting watching myself grow older in this industry, and watching sort of like the young people kind of do the young person thing, and I just kind of sit back and go with my popcorn, like, just wait. Like,
You'll be
so I
good.
feel a little bit like yeah, yeah, because it is like when you're young, you're sort of like, oh, that, like, oh, I'm gonna not, that might not happen to me. It's like kind of like these glasses. I was like, I never needed glasses in my life. 47 kicked in, and honestly, I can't like my daughter called me one day and she was lost, and I couldn't help her because I was like, I couldn't find my glasses to look at my phone to help her find the better subway.
Problematic.
So
Problematic.
yeah, so yeah, basically, if you're lucky, the aging comes for all of us, and
Yeah, that's right.
and so that's
It's a privilege, isn't it, really?
yes, it is, and it's been interesting, sort of watching myself and being able to exercise the way and like still keeping active and healthy and strong in this different body that I have now. But that's been sort of the fun part, and I feel like it only makes me better and stronger to help others.
That's it. And just understanding it from that lived experience, I guess.
Yeah,
You can't fight
yeah,
it.
yeah,
We're going to be here.
yes,
You say
yeah.
that, do you think you can, because I had this very discussion on a live with Sarah Cahoon just the other weekend about whether you can build strength doing Pilates.
Definitely,
Agreed. Yeah. And so we did a little
definitely.
breakdown.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I missed that. Say that again.
We did a little breakdown about myths around that. And yeah, I was just interested if you have people ask you
Oh
that.
yeah.
Yeah. It's a misconception sometimes, I think.
Yeah, I would say something. No one ever asked me if they can get stronger doing Pilates. I mean, no, that's not true. No one who is having a session with me ever asked that question.
Not when you leave, maybe when you walk in, but not when you leave. Just
Correct.
yeah,
Correct.
yeah.
Correct.
So
Right. Right.
these chats, I normally do them in my lounge room. We're normally sitting on the couch, literal chats with Dr.
Oh
T.
yes.
I wanted to be where your poster is in the studio room here. So these are beautiful black and white posters that help you run through your
Thank you.
ceiling. I use them frequently. The ladder barrel's over there.
Well, it does help.
It really does help. So
Yeah, it does help because it is, yeah, because you're sort of like, wait, what are the exercises I know? And especially I've specifically put out like ladder barrel, one to chair, because I
mm,
know that those are the ones that we kind of go, yeah, there's a little bit of a brain fart moment of like, what else can I do with this thing?
exactly. Yeah. And then everything can be adapted around that. So
Yep.
we've already
Yep.
strayed from the topic, so this will be a 6-part series. People get ready. So my second word for you was inclusive. And I feel like
Mm.
I've just spoken to that in meeting people exactly where they're at. These are words that maybe I've felt experienced in having worked with you and watched you run workshops and teach. Yeah. So do you want to talk to that at all?
Yeah, it's such a great buzzword right now, and it's so funny to me because it's sort of like I feel like Kathy taught me that from the get-go.
Mm.
And even though she was a little bit of a body elitist, like she didn't, I mean, she didn't pick my young, she was, even she didn't pick my young, 20 something year old body for like, that wasn't a coincidence. She liked the way I looked. However, she like really like didn't matter what your body looked like come in,
Mm.
it could always get better, you could always get stronger, and it didn't really matter what you looked like. As far as representing her, that is a reason why she chose me. But like even her, like the way she chose language, like one of my favorites is she would say, when sometimes when people are side lying doing side legs in Pilates, people say things like lift your waistline up off the ground. I've even heard some people talk about like a mouse house under your like at your waistline. And she never said stuff like that. She would say things, and this is very like subtle. She'd say internally lift your waistline up off the ground.
Which gives
And
you
she, so she, and right, and it's subtle. It's not like, and she'd say quietly to me, like, not everyone can lift their waistline up off the ground. So
mm,
true, right? It's about the work that you're doing inside. So internally
yeah.
lift the waistline up off the ground.
Mm.
Yeah, it's just a thing. I was doing a mermaid with someone, and one day I was doing a mermaid with this guy, and he was like, I don't want to do a mermaid. I go, fine, mer person. And ever since then, I've always said mer person, and I guess someone picked up on it and like has included it in their training, like mer person, coined by Blossom. And it's like, oh, that's funny, but it's just stuff. It's just the thing
That's
that
a
I
good
think
reference.
Kathy sort of, yeah, you just instill it where it's just like, yeah, it's not about gender, it's not about, it's just like, no, do the work. What are you thinking inside? How is that translating into your body?
Yeah.
Period. That's it.
And
That's
can
it.
you tell me a little bit, just when I think of being inclusive, it is a bit of a no-brainer because that's what you do when you meet people, you introduce yourself, you introduce other people to that person. Is that what it was like in the studio back then? Do you think
You mean
she was being inclusive in a way that, do you think it was a deliberate thing, or did she think about
definitely,
you
definitely.
around? Yeah.
Oh yeah, but well, because Kathy was sort of, when it came to the body, she was sort of, even though she was such a taskmaster, she was also extremely empathetic.
Mm.
Like, like a student would come late to class all the time, and she'd go, "Well, maybe he's not a morning person," and I'd be like, "Kathy, you took 2 trains or 3 trains to get here, and you're like being sympathetic to an 18-year-old who can't get to your class on time, walking."
Yeah,
So, but I was just like, "What?" I just thought that was so, I think, I don't know how much of that was empathy or Kathy really just trying to understand, because part of what she also taught me was trying to understand where a person was coming from and how it shaped who they were,
yes, yeah.
right?
And I think that'll come with one of my words later, but I think that comes with time working with a lot of people over a long period of time and being in the work, not doing it because of it's a thing to do, actually like being in it, like invested in what
Yes.
you're engaged in what you're doing. Yeah.
Yeah.
From a
Yeah.
client
Yeah.
perspective. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Cool. Yeah. Okay. My third word was wisdom. And for me, I
Ugh.
wrote some
Yeah.
subcategories, and I don't get embarrassed because I think that you see that and it happens naturally. I wrote next to it experience, knowledge, tenacity, and persistence.
So
How does
I,
that
I
sit
just
with you?
remember you're going to ask me to talk. So I remember being a young teacher, and, I just wanted to be Kathy so much. And I just said, Kathy, because, she had these incredible eyes. Like, and one of my favorite stories is we were at a Pilates conference once, and she's like eating like a sandwich, and she's watching like perfect Pilates being done over in the distance. And she goes, that guy's in his feet.
So she's
It just
inspiring while she's
Yes.
doing something
Yeah,
else.
yeah, yeah. She's just like, he's in his feet. And I was just like, how can you see that? Like, what is that? Like, and like, how do I get that? Like, how do I get those eyeballs? And she said, Blossom, it just took me a long time. She'd go, Blossom, it's like, okay, she'd go, it's like this picture right here. Can you see how it's a little crooked? How do you fix it? I go, well, and she goes, yeah. So, you just learn how to like go, well, okay, you lift this up and you step back. And, it's just about experience and learning. And on the other half of that is she also taught me and that to also go, oh, I don't know what's happening here.
Yeah.
Right. To be really like, oh, I don't know if I can, like, I don't know if I'm qualified enough to do this. So, like, it's sort of like, yes, you gain all the knowledge, but you
Yeah.
also check in with yourself and just go, I don't really know what's happening.
And be
Or
open to
I think I
understanding
need,
and learning about that. Yeah. And seeking it. And
yes, yeah,
yeah.
correct. Because I really believe that the time, as soon as you stop learning, you just stop teaching because it has to be a part of it. And I
Mm,
don't, and that doesn't have to be like always Pilates. And go do a breathing, like go study some breathing thing, Kundalini. I don't know, just like I don't know, but I think you have to constantly be looking and because I think there's sort of universals in the body,
mm.
and and
Happening.
if you yeah, yeah, yeah. And they all come into play in the studio and with the body that you're working with. So, right. So I think they're all complementary in some way. And I also think that when you get to like the true essences of what you're studying, they can be translated into other fields, right? Like, so
Yeah.
yes, there's a very specific Pilates thing we do here, but you can take that, like that real essence of the hundred, say, and it can be, you can use it in another, like in running or something. I don't know, but I'm just throwing words out there. But yeah, but
Yeah.
I
Like
think,
that transference of the knowledge. You're hitting on all the
yeah.
points that I took, way too long in a PhD to come back to what we thought we already knew. Like I think that's, that when you do that kind of full circle and it's still interesting. And excuse me a moment, it's winter here, but I might
Oh, oh, oh.
have some vintage bridge.
Are we just doing a
Like
merch?
I'm
We're
doing a
doing a
bag
merch
now. I
thing.
just thought it was appropriate.
I'll just casually have
Oh,
my bridge Pilates. Oh, yeah.
it's
I'm just kidding.
not for sale.
Oh, by the
No.
way, both of these products are not available, so don't text me. I don't have that shirt anymore, and I don't have this bag, so don't.
Are you
So,
saying you
by the
put
way, that
the
is
root
so.
on it?
Yes, it's a very specific call. And by the way, that is so me. It'd be like, here's my merch. Oh, you can't get that anymore.
Yeah. Oh well. Well, I feel
Right.
pretty.
Limited edition.
It's vintage. Vintage is very
Yes, yes.
okay. So the fourth one, I usually only give three, but I went with four because fun. It's fun. Like it's just there's no,
Oh, it is.
you
It
know,
is.
it's
Well,
mm,
I've always felt that it's like even like when I was working really hard in Kathy's studio, like we were working our asses off, like jello legs on the way out, but we actually had fun and as definitely as I get older and sadly I've watched people know people who've just like passed away suddenly or like horrible. It's like, oh, this is it, people.
not a dress
This
rehearsal.
is it. So yeah, and like if it's yeah, that like I what is it? What's the point? Like, and I also feel that way like about food. Like it to me, I was talking to someone and he was like, "Yeah, food is just fuel to me." And I was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry."
Bad.
Like for me, food
That's
is
my
like
experience.
joy.
We've met.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah, yeah.
where's the pie? Like, where are we
Yeah,
having
yeah.
lunch?
And right, and whatever that joy is, go do it. And for me, yeah. Did you say pie? Two. I'll take a slice with whipped cream, please. Right,
Yeah,
because
exactly. I've always
yeah,
maintained
that's
happy while you're having it. Your cells understand that, and the chemistry is better, and then it just does it count? Like, that's how
yeah,
I see
yeah,
it.
yeah. I mean, I can't eat what I used to. I can't eat as much as I used to, but I try to really make the stuff I eat count.
Good. Yeah, quality.
Yeah,
All right, so I
yeah.
have some questions for you then. I usually do five
Sure.
quick questions, but they're never quick because we go off road and that's what happens. What was your first ever physical activity that you can remember? That you be
Riding. Yeah, yeah. Riding go-karts down my street in Hawaii. And also like carts that we
homemade?
made from oh, homemade, like, oh, that wheel fell off that thing, and we like sort of like, and we had a hill, so we'd like drag it up the hill and
Even
go
better.
racing down the hill, like on the street, by the way, like,
Yeah.
yeah, like
All fun,
hook
no
the
risk.
things and climb, yeah, yeah, and climbing trees barefoot, and I remember like putting the tree trunk between my toes and like climbing up. That's like the first things I sort of remember in
That's your best
Hawaii.
footwork. There you go.
Yeah, yeah. And really, I have the wide feet to prove it.
Now, did you then? Always.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh wait, like yeah, please. My feet, like they're like stay barefoot a lot. I was like, oh yeah, I did that. In
Yeah.
Hawaii, I think when I moved to New York, I had like two pairs of closed-toed shoes, a pair of Doc Martens and a pair of sneakers, and that was it. Like the rest was just like Birkenstocks, flip-flop. Like I was barefoot a lot. Or and then of course all the stupid point shoes, but yeah.
Yeah. How did you go with those in like with your thing?
Oh, my giant feet.
I didn't want to say
I
it.
mean,
I'm
oh,
inclusive.
I'm saying it. Yeah, thank you, thank you. I have very large feet. I like to refer to the like all of my whole family does. We like to refer to the place where the shoes live as the marina because the
The boat. I love it. Excuse me, it is really cold here, so I'm putting it back on.
yes, yes, yeah, yeah, yeah. I heard
The
it's really cold
marina.
there.
Oh, that's hilarious.
The marina, yeah.
It's a
hmm
family
hmm
trip.
But the point work was not it was not easy. I don't think but it was fun. I really loved the challenge of it.
Mm,
And by the way, for those of you who were like, how big are Blossom's feet? I had to special order my point shoes. Like whenever like when you sort of graduate and everyone gets their shoes, I had to wait a few more weeks because they didn't come in my size. And then when I moved to New York, even I would go to like Freed of London. It's so
mm.
funny. And they had like a basket of shoes that like, how men sometimes like to wear point shoes to challenge themselves.
Yeah.
They'd bring out that basket and be like, pick from here, please.
Well, at least you always knew which were yours. I guess there's some upsides, but
Yes, the correct. And I could actually get them. I could actually go to a store in New York and buy them as opposed to what I did in Hawaii, which was special order these shoes.
I don't see how they could ever get comfortable, but that's, I guess, special order is one way to go.
There you go. Yeah, yeah,
There's
yeah. I
always,
don't think they're ever comfortable. I don't think comfort is what we're going for.
no, it's beautiful to watch, but
No.
terrible to wear. Like,
Viewed amazing.
so, right, isn't it?
It's amazing.
Yeah. Okay. My next question was who was your most memorable influence in terms of being physically active?
Definitely Kathy.
Mm.
Definitely Kathy. And then I would say now, actually, my pal, I work with Dr. Marshall Hagens. He's this incredible PT physical therapist, and so part of it is what we've sort of created these courses together, which I just love, and I'm working on sort of turning them into these online courses. But also, just like he's almost, I don't really know how old he is. I should know. Like I think he's almost 70, and
Really?
the other day, oh yeah, yeah, exactly. Thank you. And the other day, I went to his. He has this like funny beam in his house, and we were all having dinner together, his wife and my husband and I, and he sort of grabbed on and did a pull up. I was like, oh, you can do pull ups, and that guy goes, are you frigging kidding me? He grabs onto the beam, puts his legs at a 90-degree angle to his body, and pops off 12. Boom, boom, and I was like. So that is my new like I because as I'm getting older, I'm like, yeah, that's what I want to be able to do. So yeah, I'm actually yeah. So that's my
Mm, that's a
say
goal.
again.
I was just we were thinking
Yeah,
the
yeah,
other day, like if you just forget how old you are, can you override it? Does your physiology
a
catch
little
up
bit.
with your thought process, or does your thought process lead your physiology?
Oh, I think it's the brain. For me, it's the brain first. I've always
Yeah.
driven. I think you have to drive from there. You have to drive from there. Yeah, yeah. I mean, like I was doing stupid flies today, and I was just like, okay. And then I
Stupid
really
flies,
was like,
not
wow,
just
I'm really stupid flies. You can see. I'm sorry. You can see how much I love.
new to the gym.
I
Okay.
am the worst. I'm the worst client because I literally am
I hate
like,
it.
but yeah, as soon as I'm done, I'm like, thanks. But
That
what
was
I'm doing, I'm like, I
awesome.
literally did squats like this today, like just like screw it. I figure it's good to channel that energy, like.
Put it somewhere. Put it in your flies. Your poor trainer.
But I was right. But I was doing the fly. She knows. I was doing the flies, and I was like, okay, I'm only feeling my right arm. Let's get that left arm. And as soon as I put like the thought, I was like, wow, that left arm's really not. yeah, and then I felt like how that left arm connected into my body. It was like, oh yeah, okay, there. Like so, yeah. To me, that's also what makes exercising fun, and why I love Pilates specifically is that we can
Yeah.
get into this like, right? Because if not, I'm just doing stupid flies.
Well, that's right. You got to understand it. Well, see, that was for me when I first ever did Pilates. I was like, it just hurts I come from bouncing around gym world. Like it hurts my neck. I don't understand, but there's something here. And I walked away and I was like, no, I don't like all this breathing stuff. Like it, then like my science brain was going, but there's something in it. I'm really annoyed. I'm going to go back. Like, and so, and here we are all these years later. But
Yeah, like
anyway,
I hate it, I love it. I hate it, I love
in
it.
the Pilates studio now. Anyhow, that
Yeah.
happened. All right.
Hmm.
You're going to like question 3. It's
Oh,
not
okay.
about stupid flies. What's your
Okay, good.
favorite food?
Well,
Thank you for the
that's a
segue
very
earlier.
good.
Well done.
Yeah, I have to think about this. Well, it's okay. Well, so it's summer here in New York City, and we're headed into cherry season, so my favorite if right. So I guess if I had like an ultimate favorite, since we were talking about pies, sour cherry pie with whipped cream is one of my all-time
You keep
favorite.
talking about that, and we didn't get to have it when I was there, so I have to come back.
Oh my God, it's so good.
I'll be waiting. It's
Yeah,
all
because cherries are sort of it's not the sweet cherry, it's a sour cherry, so it's a tart kind. It's like has some tartness, but it's cherries and then the whipped cream. I literally checked in with a pie place to be like, so when do you think this is happening?
put me on the list, top of the list.
Oh yeah, no, I really mean like I get back from my trip. Okay, can I like I'm hoping that I don't miss the season because I'm going to be away for a few weeks. I'm just like it'd be really like a
Pre-order,
bad mark on my year.
pre-ordering. Can you freeze them?
Or watermelon. Watermelon's my other like another one of my favorite foods. Just
Yeah.
in fact, I got some right now. I'm gonna have that after this.
Yeah, your yogurt's ready. You've got your watermelon coming.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
Well, food, like just good food. I would go with that. Uh,
Oh, yeah,
Whereas what inspires you? You've kind of alluded to that. People that can give your brain things to chew on by the sound of it.
yeah. Always that actually, and now I think I'm really interested, or what I'm sort of been looking at a lot is I've been trying to understand like what gets other people excited about movement or even like watching how people have created like different businesses that really work that also align with their passion. So like I have a few friends that have businesses and I watch how like that's a and like I like watching to see how their special set of skills translate and how they translate it and funnel it into their businesses. So I love sort of watching that. And I have some friends that that are kind of some high powered people. I'm just like, wow, that's great. And like watching them do their thing and do it so naturally.
Mm.
And so that's kind of inspiring right now. It's just like watching that and also trying to understand like what is it that makes people go, okay, I'll try that. Like, so that's what's inspiring is just trying to like see those places where people go, okay, yeah, I'm gonna try that thing.
It's a nice place to get to, isn't it? Where you realize that you can't really stuff it up. You just read course correct. You know what I mean? Like it, and I think
Yeah.
to get anywhere in a business, you've got to try things and just see.
Oh
Like who
yeah.
would have thought we
Yeah.
would be doing things on Zoom as much as we are? If you didn't
Oh my, never,
around and
never. Yeah.
yeah, we learn different things out of it. Cool.
It's
Hey,
true. It's true.
where would you like to travel next to develop movement educators, apart from your holiday?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a good question. Uh well, okay, so ask the question again. Let me make sure I understand it.
It's kind of a bit two-partish, but where would you like to travel next to develop movement educators, be that in a style of teaching and a physical place?
Well, so one of the things that I'm working toward actually soon is actually doing some online courses with some people in China.
Great.
So yeah, so there's a couple of clients that I have that are from China, so and we were just talking and so that's and she was like, yeah, a lot of people know about Romana there, but they don't know about Kathy Grant. So that's kind of something that I'm working on, and that's like a whole new frontier. Like we can't use Zoom in China.
Yeah.
So fascinating,
Oh, that's
right?
true. Yes.
Uh,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah, like so it's just like that's like, oh, what's that going to be like? And also, it's a different mentality. For instance, I'm actually headed to Poland to teach in a few weeks, and it was very interesting because um, different cultures have different mannerisms, and it took a while for me to book this workshop, and part of it was sort of like the tone of the emails were sort of in this way, was like I kept thinking like she was mad at me, and I was like, oh no, that's just a different tone, and I'm not
Yeah.
used to it. And so that's what I'm curious about, is to sort of see like what's the tone in China that
Mm.
I need to sort of think about, adjust to, or understand to make me able to teach them better. Like,
Yeah.
I remember, actually, you'll love this. You know how I have that move called baby butt, where you kind of stick your butt out ever so
Yeah.
slightly?
Or angry
Yeah,
turtle
that's
as
from
well.
Kathy.
I want to check on
Yeah,
that.
there you go. Right, right, right. I love that one. That's and baby, and so I was teaching like a Zoom thing in Brazil, and I was teaching baby butt, and then at some point I was like, the lady was like, I don't think we need baby butt. I was like, oh, you guys don't need baby butt. Like in Brazil, I don't
Well,
need baby butt.
yeah, they've got their own. We have to work
Yeah,
it.
no, yeah, and right, yeah, well, yeah, they baby butt all the time. They have, and it was so interesting. Like, just also like the acceptance of bodies. Like, I think when I taught there, I wore this like thing that I would never wear, kind of like crisscross, and there was like a little bit of like a little bit of a skin roll, which like my like ex dancer self is like, oh, they didn't give a crap. They're just like,
It's just bodies.
it was great. Yeah, yeah. But so that's what I sort of love, is going to those other cultures and challenging myself with like, okay, so what do I have to, so like when I go to Poland, I'm gonna have to like, I have to like I have to use my own translation as they speak to me, or and I go, okay, that's direct, and they're just direct, and that's what I have to sort of get like, so that's what I'm kind of looking forward to, figuring out, if once I try to sort of figure out this workshop in China that I'm going to try to do.
That would be really, do they have something similar to Zoom or nothing like that? Because of,
No, they do. They do have something. They do have something. I don't know what it is. Never used it, but I'm gonna figure it out.
yeah.
Yeah, because I do like pushing myself in that way, because but even before the pandemic, I did a Zoom webinar, so Zoom was not that much of a leap, and I
Mm.
think that's also why I think I've been sort of not, I don't, that it, yeah, so you keep
Yeah.
pushing, right? Because
Yeah, exactly. I think that was the thing,
yeah.
I learned at the uni. We fortunately pre-pandemic, we'd already done all the online courses, well, had converted a lot to online there. So it was just like, oh yeah, okay, that'll work.
Yeah,
But,
exactly.
you see
Yeah.
different things and it all works well. One more question as well, though. What are you streaming right now?
Well,
What are you binging?
so the trash would be sort of like Bridgerton.
Oh,
That would be like the
I never
trash,
did
right?
that.
That's what I'm sort of streaming right now. And then, sometimes I get to like the dark, like murder mysteries, like Murders of New York, like,
Why would you do that
and
to yourself?
I don't, there
Good
is
for
this sort of
you.
this dark bit of me that just kind of goes, like, yeah, people are crazy. I don't know. There's something about like, I think then it just, and also like I love the mistake that the person makes, like, oh, they parked their car and then they got caught. Like, I love that part, like, dumbass, like you pulled off this murder, you were totally getting away with it, but you parked your car in no parking zone. Like, I love stuff like that.
Yeah,
I don't
so
know why, but yeah, like sometimes I'll just also just watch things on repeat just for fun. Like, I love, like, have you seen Moneyball?
no. Oh, the movie.
The movie Moneyball, yeah, that movie
Yeah,
with
yeah,
Brad
yeah.
Pitt and the baseball movie, and how
Oh,
that they
yeah,
like
yeah,
sort of like
yeah.
yeah, but like stuff like that, like that's fun.
That
I love
sounds
stuff
all
like
right
that. Oh,
then.
I just watched this thing on the US women's soccer team.
Oh, okay.
Like I kind of like those sort of documentaries. It's just like, so what's it like to be a soccer player, and like watching their routines and like what. So that's
That's
kind
more
of like,
inspiring
I
than
go
watching
back and forth
it.
between, exactly. I have this weird range of like murders,
It's like, what mood am I in?
Bridgerton, yeah, Bridgerton, and yeah, that's what I'm streaming right now.
Oh my gosh. If you could do any physical activity that you've thought you would like to do and you haven't done, what would it be? Like you wanted to be really good at,
I wish I could be a diver.
like as in high board diver. Amazing.
I wish that, yeah, I would. Well, first of all, I can barely swim, right? Like I can swim just enough to save my life, so I'm not going to be a diver. But I love sort of the idea of tumbling in the air and like splashing in the water.
Just how you get that kind of coordination at that speed and velocity in the air. Outside, I teach a group reformer class, and outside is the Olympic size dive boards. I'm so distracted. Like,
Wow.
I'm like, wow, like they're just, tip.
Oh, of course. Of course. Oh, and then okay, the other thing I've been watching is um like Instagram reels of like the track and field stuff, like the
Oh,
Olympics because the Olympics are coming up. It's like I love watching the relays with the baton.
yeah.
Oh, love
So,
that crap.
like
I
the
love
precision
it.
is amazing. I like the one I saw one this morning where he couldn't get the water from the tray, like when he went to go past it, and the second runner behind him picked up a cup and handed it to him as he passed him. It was so nice yet so not nice at the same time, all in 1 second. But
Hydrate.
that's sport,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I have so many questions. I feel like there'll be more to this because I do want
Go.
to talk a little bit more about the history and the Kathy Grant story as well. Knowing, having done the history with you before, I think it's worth chatting about again and again and again. Um,
Yeah, it is fascinating. It is.
yeah.
I actually just did a presentation for an organization and we because often I just talk about her Pilates life, but she was such a pioneer in the dance field.
Mm.
She was in arts administration and then Pilates like that. It was like a triple threat. She was a triple threat back in the day.
Yes, and she sounds like the kind of person, like if I think of engagement and the 7 factors that make up what it takes to be engaged, it sounds like that depth in the knowledge and in transferring that knowledge in a number of different ways, and then understanding it from the policy side and the whole investing in the community to bring that in. I mean, do you still teach your
Yeah.
community class?
Oh, I don't. I still teach an online, very inexpensive math class, which I love, and I will always teach some sort of math class. I would like to go back to teaching to that community class again. I'm gonna maybe wait till my children go
Yeah,
away, and then I will do it again because, yeah, I taught it for 17 years,
yeah.
which is impossible because I'm only 28.
Well, that's it, exactly right. I was wondering, how did you fit all that in?
Yeah, yeah, I know, 17 years and then the pandemic. So I'll wait and then when it's time I'll do it again because I really loved it and yeah, it's really nice to sort of teach just regular people and such a great testing zone for your
Isn't
cues.
it? Yeah, not teaching
Yeah.
people. You have a lot of teachers now, I imagine. So
I still get regular folks, which is really great, which is really great because it definitely makes me be like, "Oh, wait, you have no idea what I'm talking about."
yeah, yeah. Can you tell me, what is one sport that you or activity that you've done that you went, oh, I cannot get this.
Oh God, running. I mean, I'm not very like I'm not like I can maybe sort of like soft jog, but that's about it.
Enough to get
I
out of
mean,
the
there's
way.
so many things. Yeah, I can barely swim. Like there's so many things like oh and my both of my children they play soccer, they can really play basketball. If there's a ball involved, I'm awful. Like I'm coordinated, but don't put a ball like I think the few times I tried to dribble, I kept dribbling it off my toe because like that whole like stepping and yeah, yeah. So don't give me a ball. Just so yeah, yeah. That's why maybe it's best that I just have some springs and a reformer, some high,
Just what
weights.
you know.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
So what would you say to you in that situation, or someone that hadn't yet got started? They want to start, they're in that behavior change stage where they've decided to do Pilates activity, something. What would you say to
Mhm.
that person?
And they're just starting, well, it depends. So like, oh, basically, I think the big thing is make sure that you're having some fun. Like find a person that make it work for you because there's so much Pilates out there. And I'm not a Pilates snob. Like, like some people are like, don't go to those big group classes. If that's what you can afford and you like it and it's safe, have a great time. Like, so just make it work for you is what I would say. And if it's not working for you, maybe try a different teacher or a different class because there's so many
Mm.
different ways to do it. Because I feel like sometimes people try Pilates and the teacher's not the right person for them. I'm gonna go try another one. I even say that to people who come to my studio. Try it if you think you like the Pilates but not the teacher. Just try another teacher. We're used to it. It actually is a relationship. So
Yeah,
check it out. Make sure you are find the person that sort of speaks your language and that you understand and like, because
that's it.
that's
It's got to
important.
resonate, doesn't it? No matter what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So good. Thanks for chatting. It's well, finally. Like I'd realized this the other day, it had been 10 years since we've been there.
That's crazy.
Isn't that mad? Oh, we take out two. I guess it's really only eight because there were two that were missing. But apart from that, um,
So, well, those pandemic years, it really is this like weird thing of like I said to my one client, I was like, "Oh, your daughter's 3, right?" He goes, "She's 6." I was like, "Oh yeah, those pandemic years." Like it really,
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
mad. But so it's high time that I get back over there. But at some
Yes.
will happen. But I feel like yeah, let's do a part two sometime, and I would
Great.
hear more
I'll wear
about.
the same outfit.
Yeah, it'll like no time has passed at all.
Exactly. Here she is.
Right then. But thank you. I just hope that these kind of chats inspire someone to start something. I feel like it can be
Yeah.
done in a way that is fun.
Move it.
Move it or lose it.
As they say, move it or lose it. Move it or lose it. And it is so true.
Keep
It's
doing your
so true.
stupid tech flies, okay? Take the stupid out of it.
Yeah.
Keep the tech flies.
I know. No, that's how I feel when I'm doing it. Well, that's how I feel when I'm doing it. I know. I know. I'm the worst. That's look, I'm the worst client.
No. I had a friend who said, I hate
I'm
walking on.
very grateful when it's done.
Yeah, that's it. Exactly. All right. Well, you have a fabulous holiday. Enjoy. You deserve it. And we
Oh,
will
thank
reconvene.
you.
And I want to hear more. Okay. All right. Thank you so much. I'm going to go to bed now. It's
Bye,
nighttime.
Tanya. So good to see you, honey. Good night.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll see you next time. Have a great holiday.
Bye.
Bye.
Yes, please. Thank you. Bye.